Priti Patel has called for Theresa May to deliver a Brexit the people of Britain voted for. Image, Getty. In 2016, 17.4 million voted to leave the European Union, and the public put their trust in the government to seize the initiative and transform our country into a self-governing, free-trading nation once again. And at first the government listened. But with the clock ticking and as the deadline fast approaches, the government has made its choice and it has chosen to keep our country tied into the EU. The public saw that the Chequers proposal was not a compromise or a negotiating position. It was the public face of a ploy to keep the UK inside the EU by tying our hands to EU rules and maintaining the supremacy of European law in our country, and the cabinet all agreed to this. And since then the government is now begging with the EU to be allowed to stay inside its customs union, indefinitely. This will mean that we have to apply the EU's tariffs to imports, destroying Britain's ability to trade openly and freely with the rest of the world. So we can forget Britain's hopes of becoming a global leader in free trade. And to make it look like it's taken the 2016 referendum result seriously, the government won't call it customs union membership anymore. They're calling it a UK-wide backstop. They are saying that it is a temporary backstop, and we will only be inside the customs union, paying around £15 billion every year for the privilege, unless and until we agree a trade deal with the EU which delivers an invisible border in Ireland. That's £15 billion of your taxes on top of the agreed £39 billion that has been promised to the EU as a punishment for choosing to leave the EU. And that's without a trade deal in return. It is pretty obvious that after 2 years of discussions, we have just handed on a gold plate to the EU, zero incentive for the EU to bend the backstop and secure a trading arrangement with us. Whatever you call it, the backstop, or UK-wide customs union membership, there will be no freedom, no free trade deal, and no taking back control. And the cost of £39 billion works out at £1,433 for each family in the UK. And this doesn't include the £15 billion we will be forced to pay for each year we're inside the customs union from 2021 onwards. That works out as another £552 per family per year on top. This is not a deal the British people can accept. Each concession that the cabinet and this government has agreed has emasculated the British negotiating position and the ability to obtain a fair deal that respects the referendum mandate. There has not been a red line in the government's stated negotiating position that has not been crossed. They need to urgently step up to use an overused government phase, and scrap this damaging proposal by the government, saving your money and being bold to make a decision that involves walking away from the EU. And why not? Remember, the government is constantly reassuring us that they have done the work to prepare because no deal is better than a bad deal. Or are they bluffing? World Trade Organization (WTO) rules are international laws that regulate the trading relationships of 164 member states and around 98% of global trade. The US, China and India are among the EU's biggest trading partners, and they trade on WTO terms with the EU. The UK should too. The government tells us they have done the planning, the impact assessments, they have the legal advice. If that's so, share it and show the extent of the government's commitment to leave the EU and deliver a successful and positive Brexit for Britain. Roberto Azevedo, the Director General of the WTO, has said that he is looking forward to having the UK back as an independent champion of free trade. Now is the time to grasp the opportunities that are open to our nation, building upon our people-to-people ties, our links to other countries, and also our place as the fifth largest economy in the world. Priti Patel said Theresa May needed to stop begging with the EU. Image, Getty. Let's us embrace new economic and political freedoms and leave the bullying tactics of the EU negotiators behind us. People voted leave the EU because they wanted change. They believed in Britain and in the ability and future of our country to grasp our freedoms and create a brighter and stronger independent future outside of the EU. They voted to take back control of our laws, money, borders and trade. The Conservative General Election Manifesto promised that we would leave the EU altogether, that we would seek a free trade deal and a new national future. The well-known Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman once claimed that underlying most arguments against the free market is a lack of belief in freedom itself. This is exactly what we are witnessing now in a government intent of denying Britain and the British people their ultimate freedom. Priti Patel is a former cabinet minister and was a leading MP in the Vote Leave campaign during the referendum.